Yeah, there it is. There's the sign. I get a sign. You are live! Exclamation point, because it's super, super exciting. So hopefully I am going live across networks. We're going to tell you guys about other platforms today. Like what's going to happen to Tucker. I'm on to something too. Sorry, I'm a little late, but apparently I'm not as late as Steven Crowder. So, and I did adjust the showtime to account for me running late. Yeah, I'm actually right now. I have turned into an activist, sell side analyst in relation to the company Rumble Inc. So, for people who think Tucker is going to Rumble, I don't think that. And for the people who are buying the stock, thinking that that's what was going to happen, I am selling the stock, thinking that they are, going to go out of business, basically. So I'll talk to you guys about that, about Rumble. So I have become active, though, in just trying to discover what the hell is going on there. I should be live there now on the correct channel. I figured out what I did wrong yesterday, but I've been doing a ton of research by reaching out to people and talking to people who post on the platform Rumble, rumble.com, to see what's going on, to see if it's working out for anybody. What I've discovered is that live streaming is the best thing you can do there, or about the only thing you can do there that gets people tuned in. So I've taken the advice from people who say they have luck live streaming, and I'm doing that right now. So if you're watching on Rumble, please make sure that you are ready to follow me on alternative platforms. And my calculations are that Rockfin has a much more stable business model than Rumble, which is burning cash with all of their talent acquisitions, where Rockfin uses a type of cryptocurrency scheme to keep themselves in operation while not being totally awesome in every possible way. If I were to make a bet on who's going to be around longer, I would put my money on Rockfin, actually, to be around for longer than Rumble. I think Rumble is, I don't know what's going to happen to it, like when it's going to happen. But as far as I can figure out, they can't. Well, I'll get into it. We'll get into it in that segment of the show. This is the intro. So, hey guys, Barbie Star says live streams are where it's at. Yeah, well, I'm going to find out if I invested in the right things, because I did start live streaming relatively early on YouTube. And that was when I found out that live streaming was where it was at on YouTube, because not that many people do it. It takes a specific kind of skill that not everybody has. So if you can live stream and keep people tuned in somehow, then that used to be a really beneficial thing on YouTube, until they changed their algorithm to make sure that they only surface so-called authoritative content. But still, somebody told me the other day on YouTube that they found me on YouTube because they were looking for live streams, and my live stream came up for some reason. So yeah, it's like the landscape, the media landscape is like it's like everything's crazy right now. So Tucker and Don Lemon getting fired is one symptom of the chaos in media. And I'm trying to get to the bottom of it, being just a very minor player who's been around for a while, basically, and was successful at one time on a good platform, which is like YouTube. YouTube is a good platform, was way better. It was freaking awesome in 2015, pretty awesome in 2016. But somewhere, I think near the end of 2017 was when YouTube got really difficult for someone like me and someone like other people I know, who are also successful on YouTube. But but are no longer able to be. So like I'm in the middle of a weird thing, but and really just trying to figure out what the truth is, what the best way is to get out information, and like what's required for doing that. So you want to be able to get out. So yeah, we'll talk about all that stuff while we're here today. Traysaw says no live stream on Rumble. It says 20 watching now, right now, and it says I am live, and there's a recording in progress. Yesterday, I'm taking feedback. I mean, I don't want to tell you too much. I'll let you know what else we're going to cover. Tucker Carlson. There are several theories. Yeah, there are several different theories for why Tucker Carlson got fired. The Daily Beast has one take that they put across as being authoritative, which has to do with calling Sidney Powell the C word in private, I guess. So that's one theory. Another theory has to do with, I'm thinking about advertiser safe ways to say it. Now, another theory has to do with his conversations about 9/11, which I have something, he did say something recently about that. And I retweeted something from Richard Gage, who I've had on my show before, who's a 9/11 expert, who suggested that that was the reason. RFK Jr. has a theory for why they had to get rid of Tucker Carlson, which has to do with Tucker taking on Big Pharma and having RFK Jr. on as a guest. So that's one theory. I have a reaction from Brett Weinstein, who says what Fox was doing was not in their financial interest. And so we want to look into that and see if that's the case. I always, I've gone through so many things. I think I'm starting to see, like, I think I'm maybe onto something. But I always was confused when YouTube would censor people like me and other people that got a lot of views, a lot of engagement, targeting the correct demo, like people in the demo, like you guys, you're in the demo. So I know when I have the right, like when I had on a guest talking about investments, that there were people following who invested some kind of money into it. And I did too. So there is a customer like who watches this show who is good for somebody to advertise to. But I'm starting to understand, I'm starting to try to understand where advertisers are coming from. So, and we're seeing it on Twitter and with Elon Musk, is that he's going away from the advertiser model to people just paying. So, which is, what we've been trying to do forever, just never used the right strategy 100%. Sometimes talked about the wrong things, etc. Ended up on platforms that ended up having problems. DLive was kicking for a while until January 6th. So, and then I've just, and then I don't know, I would like to say, like, explain the strategy for success on, with advertisers, the advertiser friendly strategy for success, or the YouTube strategy for success, and how that's different from the strategy for success if you're on an alt platform, like in the most extreme example, Cozy, like this, certainly the same kinds of content that would be really good on YouTube wouldn't do anything on some of these alternative platforms. They'd hate it. So that's so I want to talk about that, and also how that drives extremism, basically. So maybe I'll talk about that first, and we'll talk about Tucker, the various conspiracy theories. But I do, since I'm thinking of it, and I often forget to cover the things I introduce in the middle of the show, at the beginning of the show, I'll try to talk about that. Yeah, I want to talk about how censorship on YouTube and the fact that advertisers are so scared to be shown next to content which might be objectionable creates more extremism. So I'll explain that first. So thanks for joining me. Bushidoki, cool. Thanks for the super chat. Yeah, I mean, I was all like, when they banned Owen Benjamin, I was really confused because he generated tens of thousands of dollars just through super chats. So I thought, and he didn't need to run ads next to his video for them to make a lot of money and for him to be successful at the same time. But for some reason, which I didn't understand at the time, and maybe I'm still a little confused, even though I understand like why his content can be considered super objectionable. I understand that, and why it was considered that way by YouTube. But why do corporations do things that seem to not be in their financial interest? And is it true? Like, am I correct that it wasn't in their financial interest, or am I thinking about it through a particular lens, and actually it is in their financial interest? So we have to try to figure out the argument for why Tucker being fired from Fox is in their financial interest. We just have to figure out the argument for it, even if it's not true. So let's talk about all that stuff. So thanks for joining me for the show. Let's see how things go on Rockfin today. And thanks for joining me. Thanks, Bushidoki. I'll read your super chat right after this intro. And okay, cue musical intro. Boy, that's brilliant. I do think some things in the world are real. Like you guys. You guys are real. Most of you. Most of my listeners, I think, are not just in my head. I think I have the metrics to prove it. You've taken a leap of faith today. What is that sound? And I apologize if you take offense. I'm a little offended myself. Welcome to our show. Welcome to the future. What it is. Joining you live from sunny California. It's a beautiful day today. I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman. And I bring you the news, the real news. Yeah, yes, yeah, kind of. Yeah, I think that's accurate. I think that introduction is still accurate all these years later. But I have there's some other stuff I could maybe throw in there for laughs, just to let people know not to take it too seriously, because that's when the trouble happens. So thanks, Bushidoki, who says, first time I noticed censorship on YouTube was after Sandy Hook and Boston bombing debunking videos around 2013. Yeah, it's interesting you say that. And those are trigger words, of course. Yeah, I followed creators like PK and Russian Vids and Bread Silver J. Who's the other? That's who I was following when I started. That's what I was interested in. And they talked about censorship, and they talked about Lenny Posner coming after him and stuff. And actually, I didn't cover that SH thing too much, except to have Wolfgang on. But even that, like, I'm like, I get it, now better why people get so offended by stuff like that. Where would it be appropriate to host that content? Is it possible to say what you really think anywhere and have that and still be socially acceptable? Because if somebody finds what you said, even if you didn't say it on your advertiser friendly platform, is that going to become problematic? So yeah, actually, let's do the Tucker story first, since I see people commenting on it. Eon Well says, I heard part of the reason was he was being anti-Semitic. Yes, that's one theory too. Yeah. So there's a few different ones. I'm seeing one on, Zero Hedge. That's their top article right now. So let's do that first. Okay. Just so people who tune in to hear that part of the video hear that right away. So yes, that is one theory. I can review that theory first. And if you want to support the show, like if you're watching on Rockfin, make sure you follow me on YouTube and Rockfin. If you really, if S really hits the fan. I'm trying to make content that is okay for YouTube, because actually I'm really concerned. I don't know. I really don't know if Rumble's, it's not that I don't know. I don't think Rumble will exist forever. I just think it's not working from what I can tell. But yeah, make sure you follow me on YouTube, youtube.com/lifttheveil-live, and on Rockfin at rockfin.com/lifttheveil. I figured out at least Oh no, it still says I'm on the Lift the Veil channel, even though I said to do it on my channel. So it's still screwed up and is broadcasting on some different channel. But okay, let's get into this Tucker Carlson stuff. I figured out how to bookmark tweets on Twitter. I had been text messaging them to myself. So better strategy for show content. Here we go. All right. So here's the first one, the one that Eon Well said. Okay. If you want to support the show, just recognize that the way you're going to get information that you want is by paying for it pretty much directly. That's pretty much it. So if you want to support the show, that's cool. I do something else because I realize like I'm figuring out that this is like a really hard business. And a lot of people are figuring that out right now. But you can support the show by super chatting, like Bushidoki did, or by going to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. The great thing about that is YouTube takes, I believe, 30%. Rumble, I heard, takes 20% if you use their Rumble, what do they call it? Rumble rants. And buymeacoffee.com is much, much less than that, less than 10%. I'm not sure the exact number, but less than 10%. And you don't have to wait to cash out or anything. So it's a pretty good service that, although they've had problems with somebody, haven't had problems with me yet. And they offer payment, just coffees and subscriber stuff. Oh, you can buy t-shirts too. I'm wearing a really cool one today. I'll show you. This is our propaganda shirt. So, all right, cool. So let's see. Yes, I'll go to the first one. People who said Tucker Carlson got fired because he said something that was anti-Semitic. Okay, I believe this is that exact clip shared by Anomaly, who is often hated for his Trump opinions, as I am. So here's what Anomaly posted. Tucker Carlson said this a few weeks ago. He was too real for cable TV. Okay, I haven't heard it, but I believe I saw the comments under it. So I believe this goes to the comment about the anti-Semitism thing. So let's play.
Like, I've spent my whole life in the media. My dad was in the media. Like, that is a big part of the revelation that's changed my life, is the media are part of the control apparatus. Like, there's no, yeah, I know, because you're younger and smarter and you're like, yeah. But what if you're me and you spent your whole life in that world, and to look around and all of a sudden you're like, oh, wow. Not only are they part of the problem, but I spent most of my life being part of the problem, defending the Iraq war. Like, I actually did that. Can you imagine if you did that?
Well, what do you think? What is one of your biggest regrets in your career?
Oh, defending the Iraq war.
That is it?
Well, I've had a million regrets, not being more skeptical, calling people names when I should have listened to what they were saying. Look, when someone makes a claim, there's only one question that's important at the very beginning, which is the claim true or not? So I say, you committed murder or you rigged the last election. Before you attack me as a crazy person for saying that, maybe you should explain whether you did it or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for too long, I participated in the culture where I was like, anyone who thinks outside these pre-prescribed lanes is crazy, is a conspiracy theorist. And I just really regret that. I'm ashamed that I did that. And partly it was age, partly it was the world that I grew up in. So when you look at me and you're like, yeah, of course they're part of the means of control, I'm like, that's obvious to you because you're 28, but I just didn't see it at all. And I'm ashamed of that.
Isn't that what the media tries to do, though?
It's their only purpose.
Right.
They're not here to inform you. Really? even on the big things that really matter, like the economy and war and COVID and like things that really matter that will affect you. No, their job is not to inform you. They are working for the small group of people who actually run the world. They're their servants, they're their Praetorian Guard. And we should treat them with maximum contempt because they have earned it.
I saw commentary under there about him saying, hold on, let me see the commentary. Didn't sound openly anti-Semitic to me. He talked about the media controlling things. I mean, if you can't talk about the media, it's like, I don't know, sometimes they say, like, if you say the banks are evil criminals or something like that, then they'll say you're being anti-Semitic somehow. I don't know if somehow you're here. This is Sneako, who is alive. He was part of, well, he was around, I don't know who he is, except that I've heard he was a YouTuber. I don't know if he's still working out on YouTube. He was hanging around Ye and Nick Fuentes during the short-lived Ye 24 campaign, which some people claim still exists, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't. Sneako said, did you guys hear this comment? What did he mean by, quote, the small group of people that control the world, unquote? Does anyone know? So maybe that's what people are talking about, is that he said something like that. I didn't hear it. They're not all Jewish. So if he said there's a small group that controls the world, that's, I don't know, somewhat accurate. Although events are kind of controlled by forces that are unseen, unknown, and seem as if often they're directed by a single person. Sometimes it's just like the way things happen. But yeah, that's Anomaly's argument for it. Let me, this is another person's argument. Zero Hedge is running this article that says, watch, is this the speech that got Tucker Carlson removed from Fox News? So everybody's got a theory. I don't know, I guess we're all kind of conspiracy theorists in this case. It's okay to have theories. My thumbnail suggests that it's because of what he said about WTC 7. But I don't know if that's the reason. Daily Beast says because he used the C word too much. But let's take a look at this video that Zero Hedge is using with their headline. I mean, this is their top story on the website right now. Is this the speech that got Tucker Carlson removed from Fox News? Okay. So let's take a look at that speech. Ian Will says the hidden hand. Yeah, that's actually what I was talking about. Which if you read like about capitalism and stuff, you learn about the hidden hand. So yeah, I believe in that. Like I'm starting to see that, the hidden hand, like money. But here is what some people are saying. I haven't seen it. Heritage Foundation 50th anniversary celebration keynote address. 6 minutes. Well, let's listen to it. I'm curious. If people are saying this is why, I would like to hear it. Daily Beast says something else. RFK Jr. says something else. Richard Gage says something else. So you pretty much, you're going to have to decide for yourself why you think So here's the speech, okay? Let's listen to it together, see how it is. Thanks for being here. I saw another super chat. I'll get to it. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. Here is Tucker Carlson's speech over the weekend.
It might be time to start to reassess the terms we use to describe what we're watching. So when I started at Heritage, the presumption was, and this is a very Anglo-American assumption, that the debates we're having are kind of rational debates about the way to get to mutually agreed upon outcomes, right? So like we all want the country to be more prosperous and free and people to be less oppressed or whatever. And so we're going to argue about tax rates. And I think higher tax gets us there. I'm a Keynesian and you disagree, you're an Austrian or whatever. But the objective is the same. And so we write our papers and they write their papers and may the best papers win. I don't think that's what we're watching now at all. I don't think we're watching a debate over how to get to the best outcome. I think that's completely wrong. And I've come to this conclusion, and I should say at the outset, I'm an Episcopalian, so don't take any theological advice from me because I don't have any. I grew up in the shallowest faith tradition that's ever been invented. It's not even a Christian religion at this point. I say with shame. But I'm just saying this as an observer of what's going on. There is no way to assess, say, the transgenderist movement with that mindset. Policy papers don't account for it at all. If you have people who are saying, I have an idea, let's castrate the next generation. Let's sexually mutilate children. I'm sorry, that's not a political debate. What? It has nothing to do with politics. What's the outcome we're desiring here? An androgynous population? Is that really what are we arguing for that? I don't think anyone could defend that as a positive outcome. But the weight of the government and a lot of corporate interests are behind that. Well, what is that? Well, it's irrational. If you say, well, I think abortion is always bad. Well, I think sometimes it's necessary. That's a debate I'm familiar with. But if you're telling me that abortion is a positive good, what are you saying? Well, you're arguing for child sacrifice, obviously. It's not about a teen girl gets pregnant and what do we do about that and victims of rape. I get it. Of course I understand that. And I have compassion for everyone involved. But when the Treasury Secretary stands up and says, you know what you can do to help the economy? Get an abortion. Well, that's like an Aztec principle, actually. There's not a society in history that didn't practice human sacrifice. Not one. I checked. Even the Scandinavians, I'm ashamed to say. It wasn't just the Mesoamericans, it was everybody. So that's what that is. What's the point of child sacrifice? Well, there's no policy goal entwined with that. No, that's a theological phenomenon. And that's kind of the point I'm making. None of this makes sense in conventional political terms. When people or crowds of people, or the largest crowd of people at all, which is the federal government, the largest human organization in human history, decide that the goal is to destroy things, destruction for its own sake. Hey, let's tear it down. What you're watching is not a political movement, it's evil. So if you want to assess, and I'll put it in and I'll stop with this. I'll put it in non-political, or non-specific theological terms, and just say, if you want to know what's evil and what's good, what are the characteristics of those? And by the way, I think the Athenians would have agreed with this. This is not necessarily just a Christian notion. This is kind of I would say, widely agreed upon understanding of good and evil. What are its products? What do these two conditions produce? Well, good is characterized by order, calmness, tranquility, peace, whatever you want to call it, lack of conflict, cleanliness. Cleanliness is next to godliness. It's true, it is. And evil is characterized by their opposites: violence, hate, disorder, division, disorganization, and filth. So if you are all in on the things that produce the latter basket of outcomes, what you're really advocating for is evil. That's just true. I'm not calling for a religious war, far from it. I'm merely calling for an acknowledgement of what we're watching, which is not what, and I'm certainly not backing the Republican Party. I'm not making a partisan point at all. I'm just noting what's super obvious. Like those of us who are in our mid-50s are caught in the past in the way that we think about this. One side's like, no, I've got this idea and we've got this idea and let's have a debate about our ideas. They don't want a debate. Those ideas won't produce outcomes that any rational person would want under any circumstances. Those are manifestations of some larger force acting upon us. It's just so obvious. It's completely obvious. And I think two things. One, we should say that and stop engaging in these totally fraudulent debates where we are using the terms that we used in 1991 when I started at Heritage, as if maybe, I could just win the debate if I marshaled more facts. I've tried that, doesn't work. And two, maybe we should all take just like 10 minutes a day to say a prayer about it. I'm serious. Like, why not? And I'm saying that to you, not as some kind of evangelist. I'm literally saying that to you as an Episcopalian, the Samaritans of our time. I'm coming to you from the most humble and lowly theological position you can. I'm literally an Episcopalian, okay? And even I have concluded it might be worth taking just 10 minutes out of your busy schedule to say a prayer for the future. And I hope you will.
All right. Well, there you go, huh? What's the joke about Episcopalians? I don't know the joke. What, it's not a real religion or something like that? Maybe I'll have to ask the AI. Don't know much about the Episcopalian faith specifically. So I did get an update, and some people are in the chat on Rumble who told me that Sneako, who made that comment, which I read, is exclusive on Rumble and is a big deal. So that's cool. Yeah, if I had to, I just want to warn people who are exclusive on Rumble, like that they're counting on Rumble for the future, that might that strategy might not work out. I'm not sure though. I don't know for sure. So yeah, that was an interesting speech. Yeah, I characterized the opposition as being literally evil, which fair enough. And then he also said, "Oh no, that's not to say that Republicans are the good guys, and that's not to say." He doesn't understand the arguments being made about abortion and so forth. Just that. We have to look at things and call them out for what they are sometimes. So that's fair enough. Apparently that was from over the weekend. And that's why some people are speculating that was the reason. Okay, so there's some speculation there for you that it maybe had to do with that speech. The official story is different. Let me show you. Let me see if I have it here. Okay. I'll take a look in my. Let me show you what Richard Gage said about it, 9/11, and then also show you what Daily Beast said about Tucker Carlson's 9/11 coverage very recently. Apparently in March or something, and we're in April now. Tucker got into the WT7 stuff, which I talked about just on another video I put out the other day. It's really tough. Like I often think, oh, what's wrong with talking about, I don't know, an official university study, an American university study about WTC7. And I've also thought several times in the past, like, how come Joe Rogan never mentions it? How come Tim Pool never mentions it? It seems safe. I've seen people talk about it without getting censored. I've talked about it without getting censored. I did just the other day in my video about RFK Jr., because people were saying that he was a conspiracy theorist, an unacceptable conspiracy theorist, because he suggested that the World Trade Center buildings may have been brought down by controlled demolition. The criticism wasn't even that he said 100% that that's what happened, but just that he said maybe that's what happened. And that was totally unacceptable. So let's see if we can see. Okay, so let's get that tweet here. So there's one theory. I showed you the theory. There was the thing about anti-Semitic. Yes, and there's a Jewish lady who is apparently suing. So maybe that's what some people are saying too, is maybe her motivations are because she perceived Tucker to be anti-Jewish somehow, possibly. I don't know. Apparently the claims from that person are about sexism in the workplace. So this is what Richard Gage tweeted. And it says, Tucker Carlson has known the truth. Wow. Okay, hold on. I probably can't play this clip. That's okay. I probably can't play this clip, but I shared it on Twitter. 2014. Let's see. If I play the clip and say it's not true, maybe I can play it. If I play it and say, oh, this is a terrible conspiracy theory, maybe I can play it. Okay. So this is what a conspiracy theorist is saying is the reason that Tucker Carlson was removed from Fox News, because he did this segment in 2014 with conspiracy theorist Alex Jones. What you're about to hear may be filled with lies and untruths and dangerous information that's dangerous for our democracy, for our institutions. So this isn't being played for you to take it seriously. It's not my opinion, but we're playing it just to review what some people are saying is the reason that Tucker Carlson was fired, not because we believe it. It's simply because we just have to review it. That's all. Alex Jones, he's totally not acceptable. Nothing he ever says is ever borne out to be true. Of course, we all know that. But let's play the clip just for the sake of reviewing it. Let's see.
Have you seen Building 7 collapse, the Solomon Brothers building?
No.
Oh boy. I have PTSD from all the times I've been censored by YouTube. So this is why people like alternative platforms, Rumble, Rockfin. I had a comment from one of my listeners who said, hey, the reason I subscribe to your show and pay you monthly is so that you don't self-censor. And I get it. It's just not enough. It's just not quite enough. I have to reach people on the platforms where you have to self-censor. So no harm, no foul. They talk about Building 7, which conspiracy theorists claim was brought down by controlled demolition. There is a university study which says that it wasn't caused by fire, but probably everybody who behind the university study was a conspiracy theorist too, and anti-American, and want the worst for our country. So yes, unfortunately, I'll have to review that at a different time. But I have an article from the Daily Beast about it, so we can at least read that, about Tucker Carlson's recent coverage of the WTC 7 collapse. So let's show that. Tucker Carlson now just asking questions about WTC 7's 9/11 collapse. Yeah, just asking questions, right? Shouldn't be anything wrong with that in America. Fox News star Tucker Carlson, once an antagonist of 9/11 conspiracy theorists, is now just asking questions, man, about the collapse of World Trade Center 7 during the 9/11 attacks. Appearing on a recent podcast hosted by his scandal-ridden former Fox colleague Clayton Morris, Carlson decried people's aversion to conspiracies about WTC 7, whining that, quote, if you say, like, what actually happened with Building 7, like, that is weird, right? It doesn't, like, what is that? If you were to say something like that on television, they'd flip out. They would flip out. So you'd, like, lose your job over that, unquote. Okay, good. Well, he's aware of it. It takes a long time for me to figure it out. What the wrong things are to say. But I'm starting to get it. Okay, you can't say it. That's why Joe Rogan never says it. Don't know about the moon landing stuff, though. Curious what the rules are about that if you can't talk about that. A lot of people just think that's funny. So maybe that's okay. He continued in the clip, first flagged by Media Matters. Quote, it's an attack on my country. Can I ask? I don't really understand. Do buildings actually collapse? No, maybe they do. I don't know. But like, why can't I ask questions about that? Question, unquote. Super. Yeah, that's the question. You know, Spike Lee was going to make a segment in his, I don't know if it was a Netflix documentary series about New York. Spike Lee did a documentary series about New York, interviewed a bunch of people, interviewed some people about 9/11, had a whole, 30-minute segment or something that was going to come out. And at the last minute, they told him couldn't come out. So, yeah, wow. It's just like a noose, right? I'll continue the article. Conspiracy theorists have claimed that WTC 7's collapse, hours after the WTC 1 and 2 were destroyed, was a controlled demolition designed to cover up the U.S. government's involvement in the 9/11 attacks. A belief long ago debunked by official studies showing that uncontrolled fires brought down the 47-story structure. Long ago debunked by official studies. I'm clicking on that link. Official studies, like the government study? Yeah, the NIST study? Okay, sure. But the university, sorry, but that's one study. But there was a different analysis, which came to the opposite conclusion. It's not, I'm saying, obviously there were conspiracy theorists and stuff. Obviously the government's right about everything, right? The government said that the government for a long time, they just wanted, they cover up everything about, remember, like UFOs, right? The official position from the government about UFOs until, I don't know, a couple of years ago was that they don't exist. Anybody who says they exist or that they saw one is crazy, needs to be ridiculed. They had a whole project. So I got mixed up. There's Bluebeam, right? Bluebeam, if it's called Project Bluebeam, is a conspiracy theory, not an official government study, but something people claim that there will be a fake alien invasion. But then there was another one called Blue Book, which was the government's idea of researching supposedly claims about UFOs, but actually the intention of the project was to discredit anyone who said there were UFOs. The government changed their mind about it, and now they want to tell people about it. Don't know why. They leaked it directly to the Washington Post, like, see, whoever their government reporters are. One of the main guys involved is a very happy Freemason, that guitarist for Third Eye Blind or whatever his name is. So we can have questions about whether the information we're getting from official sources is true either, but it's just to show you. Okay, got it. The position of the government currently, based on the NIST study, is that uncontrolled fires brought down the Building 7. Okay, great. So you guys know the official story. So, okay, that's another possibility, though. He just happened to start talking about it. So 9/11. Okay, so we have a few, what he said about the media, which some people interpreted as anti-Semitic. What he said about 9/11, what he said in his heritage thing. RFK has a different theory. Let's show that. RFK's theory is, let's see if we can find it. Has to do with Big Pharma. Here it is. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said, Fox fires Tucker Carlson 5 days after he crosses the red line by acknowledging that the TV networks pushed a deadly and ineffective vaccine to please their pharma advertisers. Carlson's breathtakingly courageous April 19th monologue broke TV's two biggest rules. Tucker told the truth about how greedy pharma advertisers control TV news content, and he lambasted obsequious newscasters for promoting jabs they knew, they knew to be lethal and worthless, is what he says. This is what RFK Jr., presidential candidate, says. Not me. I know, and I tell my listeners, whenever it comes up, that the government and local health authorities and international health authorities like the WHO have confirmed that the vaccine is safe and effective. All of them, no matter what. Even if they pull them later or decide later that there's something going on, whatever is available and that they tell you to take is totally cool. Not only like it's good for you, and not what RFK Jr. says, just so it's clear. For many years, Tucker has had the nation's biggest audience, averaging 3.5 million, 10 times the size of CNN. Fox just demonstrated the terrifying power of Big Pharma. So there's one theory. Sure. Yeah. And I mean, certainly advertisers, certainly I thought, and it's possible that advertisers are the reason. And certainly Pfizer and maybe other medical companies are big advertisers for those shows. And certainly it doesn't sound like a conspiracy theory to me to say that your advertisers have some control over your content. I mean, that doesn't sound crazy. A lot of times the people funding you, are intend at least or want to control the things you say because they don't want you to say bad things, like things that hurt them. So if Pfizer or other big pharma companies objected to that coverage, then yeah, totally possible. So that's another conspiracy theory, I guess, about why Tucker Carlson was fired. And finally, okay, so those are a lot of the different things people are saying on Twitter. about it. Now the Daily Beast has what they claim is the exclusive for why he really got fired. So let's go into that. The inside story of Tucker Carlson and Don Lemon's Monday media massacre. Here it is. So here's what they say is the official story. And I'm inclined, I don't know, even though it's the Daily Beast, I'm inclined to put some weight on this. They sound like they got some facts. In Carlson's case, it was Fox Corp CEO Lachlan Murdoch and Fox Corp CEO Lachlan Murdoch and Fox News CEO Suzanne Scott who made the call on Friday night to can him and his show, Confider has learned, thanks largely and surprisingly, in part to vulgar comments he made about Sidney Powell, the right-wing lawyer behind many of the bonkers 2020 election lies pushed on Fox's airwaves. Tucker was already, they use some language in this article. Some of it I'll read, some of it I won't. Tucker was already pissing off Fox management between his conspiracy-laden coverage of the January 6th Capitol riots, including the repeated and baseless targeting of Trump supporter Ray Epps as being an FBI agent who instigated the insurrection, a looming lawsuit from his former producer, Abby Grossberg, alleging a sexist work environment, and his disparaging remarks about Fox brass in documents made public. So that's the people were mentioning. That person was one of the people responsible for going after Tucker, and she is alleging a sexist work environment. Doesn't I haven't seen anything really that suggests that it had anything to do with anti-Semitism. I just haven't ever seen anything like that from Tucker Carlson. So that would be surprising. Here you go. This is what they say is it. And this is where there's a really bad word. But most egregious, and what loomed large in his termination, people familiar with the matter told Confider, was how during his deposition with Dominion lawyers, when he was asked if, quote, this wasn't the only time you referred to Sidney Powell as a C word, unquote, the Fox News star responded, quote, I can't know, and I just want to apologize preemptively. I mean, you're trying to embarrass me. You're definitely succeeding as I am embarrassed, unquote. Okay. So he called Sidney Powell the C word. Sidney Powell was the craziest of the crazies involved in the election, involved in contesting the election on behalf of Donald Trump, I guess. Said things that were verifiably false, completely untrue. And in the sense that he called her the C word, well, she was potentially the one responsible for the Dominion lawsuit because she was the one who said she had some kind of information about Dominion. There was like how they rigged elections in Venezuela or something, or how they had some kind of vote rigging software, which was just never proven at all. So, so he called her C word. That wouldn't bother me if he said it privately, but maybe if there were women around that were going to be really offended by it, maybe it was really the wrong thing to say. I can totally understand the sentiment, though. because she was really, really not good news, for anybody, who wanted Trump to win or look good or anything. She was the worst, but there were a bunch of people who were ridiculous. Linwood and, oh my God, Linwood and Rudy Giuliani and the other attorney. The comments under my last video are mostly, I believe, the only comment for a long time was that I'm stupid. It wasn't that exactly. Oh, you lost the plot. You don't know what's going on with the election. Here's what happened with the election. For people who say that, I, like Tucker Carlson, Laura Ingraham, looked at what Trump's attorneys or the people fighting for Trump were saying. I looked at whether they had a legal case. Okay. People think the election was stolen. People really, really, really think that it's impossible that Joe Biden could have won. I mean, look at his rallies. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's crazy. Like, how could anybody think that guy who barely put a sentence together, he's so old, he looks like he's going to die, could beat Donald Trump with huge rallies, super popular? So people really they just don't believe it. My wife doesn't believe it. People don't believe it. I get it. That's cool. Okay. I get it. If you don't believe it, that's fine. I have to deal with, I really try hard to deal with things I can verify. When it came to election fraud, they had nothing. They literally produced nothing to show that there was actual widespread fraud. I mean, they didn't produce anything. The best thing I've seen about it, because I'm super open-minded, the best thing I've seen about it was the Mules documentary where they showed, the drop boxes stuff. And maybe there's something there, but again, it's not proof. It's not proof. It's something. There's video of people shuffling around stuff. It looks super suspicious. There's charts that show votes coming in at 3 a.m. that look super suspicious. But none of it proved anything. Not in a way that would stand up in court. So that was my opinion. At the time, I was like, well, I don't think they, and they lost every single case. And I won money based on my beliefs. But I lost followers because people wanted to hear that Trump was going to win and that he definitely totally won. Maybe, I don't know. I really don't know. How would I know how everybody voted? But that's what Tucker thought. And when Tucker said, I hate Trump, people almost didn't want to believe he said that. It's because of what Trump was doing stuff that was, to people who are pretty smart, like Tucker, that was insane, completely insane. After the election was called and stuff. Might have been stolen. I really don't know. I don't. I just have to go based on whatever facts are available. Nobody ever proved anything. I mean, Mike Lindell, give me a break. Oh my God. Mike Lindell. It's a bunch of lunatics. Mike Lindell did that seminar and stuff he paid for where they were supposed to show evidence. It was totally not real. I looked, though. I did look. So anyway, yeah, people call me names again, whatever. But anyway, that's it. So anyway, I sympathize with his feelings about Sidney Powell. That's for sure. And about some of the other crazies. So that's the official story. He used the C word too much. I'll read more of this. Carlson's being nailed in court documents for his repeated use of the overtly misogynistic C word was a key factor in his demise. As Fox News has rid itself of Roger Ailes and Bill O'Reilly after years of sexual harassment complaints, and could not have its biggest star undermining any supposed progress. Could not have its biggest star undermining any supposed progress. Carlson, who was given no reason for his termination, was stunned by the development. People familiar with the situation told Confider. He told staffers who inquired, quote, "I have no idea what's going on," unquote. Carlson and Fox News didn't reply for comment. Okay, so then there's commentary about Don Lemon. All right, so that's the complete news. They've gotten every different theory for why Tucker Carlson was relieved. And there are a lot of different reasons he might have been. So, yeah, using the C word, there are just some things, I guess, you just can't say. People call each other the C word, like in the UK. Men will call them each other the C word. It's not really a big deal. It's literally a word that doesn't mean anything unless you think so. But we live in an era where people take words really seriously, and sometimes it really hurts their feelings, I guess. So that's what happened. Yeah, that's what's working for a corporation. Just, I sympathize with Tucker's feelings about how they want to control him and stuff. They wanted to control him. He didn't want to be controlled. There you go, right? I feel very similar about things. So let me take Pete Bogg says that's Australia. They do it in the UK too, I think. But I saw that he didn't use the word on TV, Wayne Definity. He used it privately, apparently. And I don't know who he was talking to, but I guess somebody snitched on him. Like, oh, Tucker hurt my feelings. He used the C word, I guess. News people, I mean, a lot of them are assholes, like a lot of people think I'm a total whatever. People have talent, a lot of it just happens all the time. The star of the biggest show ever, Top Gear, Clarkson, similar problems. Steven Crowder, everybody says he's got problems too. Everybody says like he's terrible. Well, I don't know if it's everybody, but that's what I'm reading. People are like, oh, but, Crowder's terrible, like doesn't treat people well. Big talent, I guess. I mean, I don't watch it, but he got people tuned in. I mean, he was a performer. He went from being an actor to a political commentator. But he's got problems too. I mean, that other guy in the UK, I mean, he's got attitude problems, people say. Don Lemon's got attitude problems. That's why he got fired, I guess. A lot of times, talent is kind of crazy. Jim Carrey, I mean, if you watch the documentary of Jim Carrey doing that movie where he played the dead comedian, and he was in character the whole time, I mean, he just literally abuses people all day on set. In a way, it's hard to believe, but in Hollywood, like if you're doing method acting, like Jim Carrey was supposedly doing, then apparently if the character you're playing is a complete a-hole who mistreats people, then you're allowed to do, and drinks all day. But you're allowed to do that. Or like I heard about Kevin Spacey. I know, people who worked with him. Apparently he drinks a fifth of liquor, while he's on set, and he's drunk, doing his performances. So people put up with bad behavior in certain scenarios, particularly when it comes to performance arts. Or just because I've been around it, I've seen it. Like, people freak out, they start screaming at people, and you put up with it because they're the star, or they show up late, or they show up drunk, or they're doing drugs. People put up with it, a lot of times, but maybe less and less these days. And just didn't work out when you're in a corporate situation. You got shareholders and stuff you got to worry about. I guess that's when they got rid of him. But he's a huge talent. It completely irreplaceable. But corporations, it's just not totally about that. And so I guess I'll comment on, because I did comment under his tweet about it, what Weinstein said about it. Because Weinstein said, let's see if I can find it. Oh, no, that's not under tweets. It would be under replies. Oh, yeah, I can go to bookmarks. Brett Weinstein said, the most troubling aspect of Tucker Carlson's firing is that it makes no financial sense, that it's about a higher priority, is therefore inescapable. What's planned can't endure Carlson, and infuriating his huge audience is apparently an acceptable price. So I replied to that just saying, just like in the case of Budweiser and other corporations, I mean, if you look into it, corporations are required to do everything. I mean, like everything a corporation does is meant to be in the interest of returning value to shareholders. If a corporation does something that loses value for shareholders, and shareholders think that the company did something really wrong that was not in the best interest of shareholders, then shareholders can sue, because the company has actually done something that they're not supposed to do. Theoretically, if Budweiser stock actually crashed, which it didn't, it's actually up again today, even though I was going to lead with that story, but about their sales being down, but even Budweiser could, if their stock had totally crashed, or something really terrible happened to the company, then shareholders could sue over their decision to do a product placement with Dylan Mulvaney if it wasn't in the best interest of shareholders. So I mean, it's so accusing. So Brett Weinstein saying that is something that would be actionable if it's really true. I mean, just like so people understand, if it's really true that firing Tucker Carlson is not what's in shareholders' interests, and because of that, the share price is negatively impacted in a significant way, then Fox News could get sued by shareholders who say, like, what are you doing? Like, why did you fire Tucker? And as a matter of fact, Fox needs to be prepared to justify to shareholders why they made the decision. Whether that's privately or not, they have to have a reason. Like they have to have a good reason. They have to, because like I said, if they don't, if they really did it because it wasn't, if they really did it because of some extraneous factor that didn't have to do with making money, and it's super detrimental to the value of their company, they would have to account for it. They would have to make up something plausible for why they did it. So, even though it certainly is possible that there were outside factors besides financial factors that drove the dismissal of Tucker Carlson, it's safer to assume, I believe it's safer to assume that there were financial motivations that we maybe just don't understand 100%. And in terms of financial motivation, it's not always about what you stand to gain, or what gain that you would miss out on. Tucker Carlson being the most popular guy on cable TV, bringing in more and more listeners, hopefully being able to get advertisers to pay more and more for ad spots. But frequently it's about risk. So frequently decisions are made because of downside risk. So it's not that Tucker Carlson is currently bad for business, or that his ratings are bad, or that advertisers aren't paying enough right now for his show. But it could be that they just paid out a crap load of money for a lawsuit, and they're worried that could happen again if they keep Tucker Carlson, basically. So it's like risk management. And if I had to come up with a theory, then that would be my theory, is that they viewed keeping Tucker Carlson as more risky than replacing him with somebody else. So that's, I have no idea what the specific reason was, where the risk came from, but certainly sexual harassment stuff, could turn into another huge lawsuit. Pfizer stuff could result in them losing sponsorships. I guess there could be any number of reasons. So, so those are my thoughts on it. And then we can talk about how, I told you right at the beginning, I was going to talk about how censorship creates extremism. And I could talk about that for sure. So thanks for joining me. Let me take a look at the comments. I saw a couple of super chats. So let's take a look at those. Fox News, my comment back to Brett Weinstein was, okay, but if it really is that terrible financially for Fox News, like if it's obvious that firing Tucker Carlson was the wrong thing to do financially, then investors, who make money based on figuring that stuff out, would really, really be selling the stock right now. And the stock was only down about 3% yesterday. So it was down, but it was only down about 3%, and it's just about even today. Let's take a look at Fox Corp B class. I'll show that. So Fox News stock, basically flat today on a day when the broader market is not having a good day. Fox Corp stock, not too bad. It was down a little bit yesterday. It's down 3%. Similar to how much Anheuser-Busch was down in the days after the Dylan Mulvaney thing. But Anheuser-Busch has recovered almost 100%. Their stock price, at least. I was going to show you that sales are down. I'll still show you that. But Anheuser-Busch, as terrible as it is, sales are down. You've heard everything. Investors think that investors have faith that management knows what they're doing, basically. Even though Joe Rogan totally trashed them and the executives had to be suspended and stuff, sales are down, temporarily. Investors are looking at the long term. That's what the stock market is for, is predicting the future. And investors right now in both Fox and Anheuser-Busch are not as concerned as you might think they should be. And they're the ones betting on it, not me and you. So they're the ones who have something to lose if they're wrong. So that's what betting markets are for. That's what stock markets are for. That's why I put money on my opinion about Rumble today. So I'll show you that too. Yeah. I think, okay. So now people are saying somebody should give him $100 million. Some people are saying he's worth $100 million. Some podcast will offer at least $100 million to Tucker Carlson. Okay. Joe Rogan got something like that to go to. Joe Rogan, I believe, made the right decision. He's on Spotify. He can say mostly what he wants. He doesn't say a few things, which I've kind of criticized before, but I kind of get it now. He made the deal. He made the right deal. Spotify, this is the thing about it. Okay, this is the thing. $100 million. Same for Steven Crowder and the deal he got offered to go to Daily Wire, which was just enormous, which he turned down. Same as anybody who took a contract with Rumble is this, okay? And the same with golfers who took contracts with the new Saudi Golf Federation. Tucker Carlson is worth $100 million to a company that thinks they can earn more than $100 million by having Tucker Carlson under exclusive contract. Joe Rogan is worth $100 million to Spotify, or they decided, because they thought, or they think, and maybe it's paying off. It's been, I believe it maybe was a totally successful investment for them, but people aren't always right. Okay. But he's worth $100 million if there is somebody who thinks they can generate that more than $100 million over whatever the term is by hosting him on whatever their platform is. So my question is, and this goes into Rumble and stuff too, and maybe we'll transition into talking about Rumble, is that I'm curious, because I'm in this business kind of in my own weird way. And I get it. I have to figure out how to generate income from it. It's really, really hard, especially considering the tools that are available and the censorship and everything. Who is going to be able to do that? Okay. So yeah, we can transition, I guess, into Rumble. The Rumble CEO almost tried to imply. So Ron Walker, while you might be correct that some podcast will, I don't know who has the ability to generate that much income by hiring him as a host. I don't know anybody with the distribution and the monetization capabilities to do that. If he sets up his own platform and people pay him directly, that might be his best chance. That's where some people, particularly people who write on Substack, have made it work out exactly like that, where they just write directly to people who directly pay them, which is kind of what I have to do. I give it away for free. I don't charge for it. But people have to support this show directly. So I have to beg, for super chats and stuff. However, the YouTube platform for people who are just awesome and advertiser friendly, you don't need anybody, right? Like Mr. Beast. Nobody has to give him a contract because he generates revenue himself, directly to himself. When I was successful on YouTube and monetized, I didn't need somebody to pay me a contract. I would just get paid for the ads that the platform runs on my videos. If Rumble worked, then you wouldn't need it wouldn't be about contracts. If Rumble really worked the way YouTube works for people who are advertiser friendly, which I guess includes Tim Pool and others, is you just get paid. The platform provides the distribution. It's free. And the platform hooks up with the advertisers who pay to basically sponsor your content. So you get sponsors, so you're sponsored, but you don't have to seek out the sponsorships. You don't have to get a contract to be on YouTube. YouTube doesn't pay, as far as I know, YouTube doesn't pay anyone to be on the platform. YouTube provides a platform where you can generate your own income if you're advertiser friendly, which is why I've just been on a trip lately trying to see if I can get anything of mine monetized. I got my first response from a video I was about Rumble. I mean, my video about Rumble, is Rumble a scam? I thought, well, there's certainly nothing in that video that shouldn't be allowed to be monetized, but still, I set it up for manual review. They did a manual review. They emailed me back and said, sorry. After manual review, it still can't be monetized. So I don't know if it's ever going to happen. But that's like Tim Pool and I don't know, other people like Russell Brand. They don't need a deal. You notice they're not on Rumble, right? They don't make any money from Rumble. They just make money from ads on YouTube. I guess YouTube likes them enough and they're acceptable enough somehow that they just make videos that because they're allowed to be monetized, YouTube has an incentive to promote them. So that's where I'm at. Like, ideally, I would have a certain number of supporters who just paid for it. And I could just broadcast privately, really, for a certain number of people who pay enough. And then I could say whatever. Doesn't even matter. But I don't think I can do that. And I do want to get information out. But when it comes to incentives, so you see that Matt Walsh quit YouTube as soon as they said they were going to demonetize him. That's what I've seen a number of creators do. I've been demonetized forever. I've had a few videos even being demonetized. I've had videos go pretty viral You know, even on this channel, I at least got a video with, you know, over 60,000 views on YouTube, but it wasn't monetized, so I didn't make any money off of it. It helped grow the channel though, which is still valuable. So, but as far as incentives go, like it makes sense. If content isn't monetized, then YouTube has no incentive to promote it or make it go viral or anything. And if it is monetized, they do. So it makes sense. So if I want my content to be promoted, even if I don't care if it's monetized, like actually, like I don't even care if it's monetized. I'm happy. I'd be happy if the platform just treated me better, like said, okay, like this is good, we're going to promote it. But because they don't have an incentive to do that and they find it controversial, they don't do that. So I was just trying to figure out if I could somehow create the right incentive structure for YouTube, or somehow convince them that this is actually content that advertisers would totally be okay with, that then they would have an incentive to promote my content. Then my channel could actually grow. But yeah, I would, if they just treated demonetized content like monetized content and promoted it the same way, no, that'd be cool too. Because there's still value, even though when I make a standalone video, that's not monetized. And even if I ask, even if, you know, I don't, it's hard to earn income from a demonetized video. Mostly I get stuff through super chats, and people do super chat, you know, some form of super chat. And 90% of those come from when I'm actually live, you know, and even though I say you can do it anytime, buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil or Cash App. You can do it anytime, even after the video's over. People like to do it when stuff is live. So, but yeah, if I just had that, if I could just grow the channel so that my live streams have more people, if there's more people who might want to support the show and give a super chat. So that would be cool too. So, you know, but yeah, it's just different ways the system is rigged. I'm getting my mind wrapped around it. But as far as Rumble goes, and I'm now a short seller. I do now have puts. Not very much. A couple $100. That's it. That's all I spent. But I have been doing as much research as possible to make sure I'm correct. Because I think I mentioned, like, I'm aware that sometimes I become convinced of ideas based on some evidence that I later find out aren't true. Like, for example, yesterday, I thought I was talking to Laura Loomer. It's crazy. Weird way to explain this story. But yesterday I thought I was talking to Laura Loomer. Okay. So on Telegram, because I follow her on Telegram, and I commented under one of her posts. Actually it was helpful. The first place it's helpful to follow people on Telegram because you really get notified right away when they post something. So if it's breaking, so I follow like breaking news. I follow disclosed.tv on Telegram. I follow Laura Loomer. I follow a lot of people who are people I really I criticized for various reasons. Sometimes I troll Laura Loomer a little bit on Twitter for some of the stuff she says because I think it's crazy. But anyway, she posted yesterday that that was where I learned it, actually. That's where I learned Tucker got fired. She posted a screenshot of an article. I did a Google search real quick and couldn't find a story about it. So I commented, I put source ? And then I found the source, updated. Anyway, I got a message from Laura Loomer. And I was like, oh, that's weird. I worked with somebody before who wrote for Laura Loomer. I thought maybe Laura knew who I was somehow, even though I was skeptical about that. Anyway, long story short, we had a conversation for a while where I thought, I might have been trying to impress her or something. I was like, oh, actually, I was thinking, oh, really? Even though I really criticize Laura Loomer and things, the fact that she was talking to me, I still was thinking, oh, well, she's talking to me. Maybe I should try to, impress her or something. But then I got a pitch for an investment scam, which I'm smart enough, I know enough about finance that I knew it was a scam. The pitch was arbitrage trading, that the person said they were making $9,000 a day and they said there was no risk. And I said, okay, well, that's impossible. I know that. There's no such thing as making money without taking a risk. Except for in regular employment. But even then, you have to risk that your employer goes broke or something. But in investing, you can't earn a return without a risk. And that's kind of life too. I mean, that's really life too. It gets into why I was talking about Alex Stein. Alex Stein took big risks to get where he is. So I realized that anyway. So I said, no, thanks. And then they said the person said that they wanted to charge $1,000 a day, $1,000 to learn about arbitrage trading, which would earn me apparently $9,000 a day. I figured it out. I was like, well, that's impossible. First of all, if you knew an arbitrage strategy that made a bunch of money that nobody else knew about, telling someone else or teaching someone else how to do it would be the worst thing you could possibly do. With investment strategies, there are certain investment strategies. I've met some people. I met this guy in LA once. He was like, yeah, I have this. He's like, I trade for 15 minutes a day. He's like, the exchanges don't like me and stuff and all this. I said, well, what do you do? He said, I can't tell you. There's a reason for that. Because if they told, there are trades that are good, as long as not very, very many people know about it. There are almost guaranteed winners sometimes. And crypto, this happened in cryptocurrency. In cryptocurrency, there was this arbitrage trade that worked really well for a while that a bunch of people ended up doing. And they offered pretty high interest on staking your cryptocurrency based on this arbitrage trade. Well, it got too crowded, which just means that if too many people find out about it, then you can't do it anymore. It doesn't work anymore. So I just knew it was a scam anyway. So then I reached out to this person who knew Laura, who worked with Laura before. I was like, you won't believe this. I was like, oh my God, Laura Loomer is scamming me. That's what I thought. It's a long story to explain how I try to figure things out, because sometimes I get convinced that things aren't true. I was like, Laura Loomer, I was like, wow, this is a big story. That's what I first thought. I thought, holy shit, wait till people hear about this. Immediately, Laura Loomer is reaching out to her followers on Telegram and scamming them. It was something I thought was possible because I think negative things about Laura Loomer. So I actually thought that for a second. Fortunately, I checked. I didn't. Fortunately, I didn't rush out. I could have, and maybe gotten a bunch of followers or something too. Made a video about it. Laura Loomer is scamming people on her Telegram. Look at this. But as a matter of fact, the person who I messaged was like, oh, that's fake. That's somebody impersonating Laura Loomer and trying to scam you. And immediately I thought, oh, yes, you're correct about that. Okay, that makes perfect sense. I get it. And then I was like, oh my God, I'm an idiot for actually spending so much time talking to the person. So that's a warning about Telegram. That's a warning about Telegram for you guys, but it was a learning experience for me. I felt stupid, but actually I shouldn't feel stupid because I knew it was a scam. That was the important part. At least I knew 100% certainty it was a scam, and there was no way I was ever going to fall for it. So actually, as a matter of fact, it was cool. Like how I handled it was fine. I didn't report on it. I asked somebody first and they told me right away. And I thought, oh yeah, of course it was a scam. And it was. So that's a warning to people on Telegram, which I wasn't aware of. It happened on, it happens on Twitter and Discord and everywhere else too. I was fooled by it. But that was to make the point that I can't remember. I think I remember why I made that point. The point is that I have to check in to make sure that I'm correct. I had a feeling about Rumble based on my experience because I thought I'm good. I was good on YouTube. I'm good enough to get followers. And so if I'm on Rumble and I post content, then it should get, if the platform works, then it should get followers, right? I've been on there for a while. I thought, oh, there must be something wrong, but there's all this like self-doubt and stuff. But I guess I'm feeling a little more confident that I'm putting out stuff that really genuinely would get traffic if it was a fair, normal algorithm that could identify good content and distribute it to people. That was my feeling about Rumble. Now I'm trying to confirm it. So I'm doing everything possible to ask everybody I know and putting out messages and stuff like it, just to ask like an APB. Do you make like anybody, literally any content creator who is actually independent? This is what I'm trying to find out. Any content creator who is actually independent, as in not under contract with Rumble, are you making revenue on Rumble? And pretty much you can go to my timeline on Twitter to see all this. But pretty much everybody said no. Pretty much everybody, including people who are great, like who are like stars, basically, like really graceful. She makes videos that everybody likes, kind of, and it was super successful on YouTube, and it's still pretty successful on YouTube. She replied to me and showed me her earnings from Rumble, and it's like $9. And she would get hundreds of thousands of views on her videos before. I'm sure she was making good income from YouTube on videos that were monetized. Actually, I haven't asked her what her current monetization status is. So I asked everybody. Okay, so this is what I found out about Rumble. I can say I believe I can say with certainty, almost total certainty, that nobody, I'm sorry, I can't say it with total certainty. I haven't found anybody yet. And I've asked, and I've looked for this information in as many ways as I know how. And I am a creator myself who makes content that has actually performed well on YouTube. I mean, I can compare it, right? I can say, okay, this video on YouTube, demonetized, got way more views than on Rumble for a posted video, a video that wasn't a live stream. Now, my live streams were going over there and stuff, but I realize people like live content when it's live. I mean, I know when I do a live stream, almost all the traffic is from you guys that are here now. And after it's over, there will be very little traffic. But with a pre-made video, then it's different. It's made for consumption, and it can go, it can be put in the algorithm. People are looking for it, not just for it being live. what I've discovered is that I haven't found anybody. Okay. If Rumble knows somebody, I mean, I'm open to talking to Rumble. I'm like actively kind of trolling Rumble, trying to get them to respond. Like, hey guys, they're putting out all this stuff right now on their account. Oh, look, 1 million views on Steven Crowder's video. Oh, look, 100,000 people tuned in live to watch Steven Crowder. Oh, look, these are the tweets. I'm following them today. It's all happening before I go live today. And I'm actively, I'm really engaged in this because I want to know, like, because I'm desperate. You know, that's where I'm at. I'm desperate to make something work. If Rumble works, then I want to use it. I want to use it the right way so that my content, which I think is good, can succeed. So the feedback I got, standalone videos, but forget about it. It's just not the platform for you. There is no platform for you except maybe Twitter. If your videos, it should probably be like less than 10 minutes for sure, I think. But we'll talk about Matt Walsh. Just ran his first episode on Twitter. He said it was super successful. So we're looking at that. Okay, but I'll talk about Rumble first. We're trying to find out, like, I'd like to get to the bottom of it so that I can tell other content creators, like, this is what works. I've done my best to try everything. And I want to try Rumble the way it's working for anybody. So that's what I'm doing. I'm live now. Like, I talk shit about Rumble. The technology, everything, it's absolutely terrible. But I did hear from people, and I did see I was looking at the comments. People are saying positive things about Rumble, who claim they're not being paid by Rumble. I asked them, and somebody did respond to me, and somebody said, I'm doing well with live streams, making a couple $100 a month. That's the best response I've gotten. So out of everybody who I've talked to, I've just been really, really actively seeking out people who are making money on Rumble, because as much as you hate it and stuff, like, that's what matters. The view count is cool for your ego, I guess. You know, how many people see it, but your view count doesn't matter. Doesn't mean anything, actually. If your video gets more views, it's valuable. If it gets you more subscribers, that's worthwhile. If you can get more subscribers on any platform, Twitter, YouTube, anything, if something gets you more followers, that in and of itself is a financial benefit because you can always advertise to them, right? Just like Dylan Mulvaney. Followers is currency, is the same as currency. So, like, if you really, really genuinely get more eyeballs, that it is valuable. Like, if there genuinely are 77 people watching on Rumble right now, which I don't know for a fact, but I don't believe it, not based on the chat. I have 25 people tuned in on Rockfin, and the chat is way more active right now. I mean, I don't know about way more, but I'm pretty sure those numbers are accurate. There are 25 people tuned in on Rumble. One person has already donated $10, and people are more likely to financially support the stream on Rumble for whatever, on Rockfin for whatever reason. But comparing the two platforms, Rockfin has all kinds of problems, all kinds. I could be super critical, but people who tune in there tend to be much more likely to actually financially support the show. They do have a subscription program that's pretty good, and also they don't pay anybody to be on. They don't pay people to be on there. People are on there because they can make money, like they get a benefit from being on there beyond somebody writing them a check every month or whatever. So, going back to the person who originally said Tucker's going to get $100 million deal. These content. So what that says to me is that there is not really a good way to make organic income on Rumble, which means that Rumble isn't making organic income either, even from the shows they artificially promote, because they're paying them to be there. So everybody that took a deal with Rumble did exactly the right thing because they're getting paid more than they're worth. Just like the golfers who took the money from the Saudis to be on this new Saudi golf tour, the Saudis are offering more money than they're going to generate. They're going to lose money. Like, in other words, the Saudis in this golf tour are because they want to compete, they're willing to lose money, and then they think eventually they'll make money. So that's what Rumble did. Like, Rumble has venture capitalists. This is like a way to, Rumble decided that the way they're going to grow is by paying people to be on their platform, and eventually organic revenue will come, basically, if they get the right piece. So this is their decision. Rather than spending money on artificial intelligence and technology, which obviously they don't think is important for some reason, which I think actually would be much more important, and finding advertisers that can pay. Because whatever it is, even if people are getting views, they're not getting revenue from ads. So obviously, whoever the advertisers are, it doesn't pay as well per view as YouTube does when you're actually monetized. So YouTube obviously has better, higher paying advertisers, which means that you get paid more per view on YouTube, maybe by a huge amount, than you do on Rumble. So yeah, cool. More views doesn't mean anything. And I think it's fake. I don't know. They can't sue me. I think. Even on my own video, I'm pretty sure it doesn't make sense. The numbers don't make sense to me, and to other people too. People have just told me, you should, if you're really interested in knowing the truth about Rumble, follow me on Twitter. I'm really, really interested in finding out. But what I'm saying is that everybody that took a deal on Rumble, based on my research now, I don't believe that Rumble could possibly be making enough money back to pay for the contracts that they're paying out, which means that, the people who took the contracts made exactly the right decision, maybe for them, for now, because they're being paid more than they're worth. If they just went on, in other words, if they had just gone on Rumble, they shouldn't have to pay a contract. That's it. Like, it shouldn't. People are on YouTube just because they make money on YouTube. Like, if Rumble worked, good creators would just go there and make money. They wouldn't need a contract. Like, that's not what it's supposed to be. Like, it's a totally messed up model. If all you're doing is paying for your talent and not actually generating income, then you're just losing money and you're going to go out of business. So, I mean, you can look at their financial statements. I started looking into it. Here's their financials. They just lose a shitload of money. So it's not just me. It's just not my concept. It's on paper. They just lose money. So I'm looking at a long, like, my strategy, my time horizon is long on a lot of different things. Like, I want to invest in things that are going to be here for a long time. If I, so once I determine that something is no longer viable, that I'm not going to grow there anymore, then I have to look for something else, you know? And after all of my research, in like real life research, I determined, after being on Rockfin for a long time and stuff, that maybe because of the content I do, that it's that there, I haven't found, there isn't anything. And I'd love there to be. If it was Rumble, great. If they fix their platform, make it work, make it actually make revenue for people, great. But I'll show you the financials. They're right here. I'm not an expert or anything, but the stock was up the last few days. The stock was down today. I found out enough information that the stock, I feel like the stock got a pump from the people thinking, and actually the CEO kind of implying that like Tucker might be on the platform. But where are they going to, I mean, where are they going to get 100 million from? And it's not just that. How are they going to make it back? You can't just give somebody $100 million, run it for free for everybody. The Daily Wire can't just do a $25 million contract and not plan to make at least $25 million. So in the end, in the end, Crowder's decision might have really been the wrong one. Yeah, I was thinking to myself, holy shit, like people get the idea. They're like, oh, I'm super valuable. They're like, people don't even know, like they don't realize. I don't know if Tucker feels that way, but Steven Crowder did. He was like, no, man, like they don't get it. Like I'm fucking amazing. Like they have no idea. I'm not going to sign this ridiculous contract. You know, they're taking advantage of me. They're just looking at, I mean, it's just a business. They can't pay you if they're not going to make the money. What do you want them to do? Just pay you? But that's what they're doing for Rumble creators, I suggest. They're just basically losing money on all of them. And they made some really, really stupid acquisitions. Like, I don't know, like Donald Trump Jr. or something for $1 million. Like he's not an entertainer. They hired people who aren't podcasters, who can't hold an audience, who are just personalities. I saw Guilfoyle is on there and stuff. At least Crowder and stuff. I mean, at least people, you know, if they hire people who have talent who can actually get people tuned in and stuff, awesome. But some of the personalities they hired and put big dollars into, they're not even entertainers. You can't just expect a celebrity to just be a freaking awesome podcaster. But that's kind of what they did. So anyway, here are the financials. I don't know. Like I'm not an expert, but take a look. Like look at this. See if it means anything to you. And basically, if other people like this, and this is crazy. I have a financial motivation right now, a very small one. But if somebody else, like Gabe Hoffman, who is a short seller, thought that shorting Rumble was a good idea and that I made a good case for it, then there's an incentive to share that information with as many people as possible until investors see it and start selling the stock and they go out of business and everybody just makes profit out of seeing them crash and burn. It's not what I'm trying to do, but that's the reality. I mean, there is a profession called sell side analyst or short sellers that do research on companies, find out why they suck that people don't know about, short the stock, and then make a big deal about it to everybody. It's a little bit what I'm doing right now. So just to be, since this is a show that really lifts the veil, I'm lifting the veil. I have a short position. I financially benefit if they completely go out of business. I'm actively doing things to make them look bad, you know, but it's the truth though. I mean, I'm just telling the truth because I'm frustrated. I want it to work. If they use my information to make their platform better, great. The other thing they might want to do is pay me to shut up. That's the other thing they could do. So either way, there could be, you just be aware, a financial motivation for the things I'm saying. And there actually are right now. I want the stock price to go down. I think it will. But actually, I can also do something about that. Not very much because I'm not really famous. But if somebody does get the idea who does have influence and they think I make some good points and they have a lot of money to short the stock, they can make a big deal about how effed up the platform is and how actually it's I don't know though. I'm not a certified financial analyst. I just drive for DoorDash. You know what I mean? Sometimes I get a few coffees on my live stream. I drive for DoorDash so I can buy Bitcoin. I take super chats and stuff so I can buy Bitcoin or gold or silver or make bets on things that I think I have an advantage on. Today I got the idea. I was like, you know what? I feel like I've done enough research. They just got this artificial pump from the Tucker News, which they're not going to get Tucker. So I think, and things might be coming to a head. Like it might be for once, I'm actually talking about something that's actually going to become relevant because everybody's talking about it right now. Everybody's talking about like, what are we going to do? Where are we going to go? Matt Walsh decided not to go to Rumble. He's trying Twitter. Why? You know what I mean? If Rumble works, so Daily Wire obviously, I believe, sees Twitter actually as like Rumble as a competitor to Daily Wire. If it was a good platform, they would just make money there. But Matt Walsh is having to try out different stuff. He's saying how great Twitter is. If he makes money on Twitter, I'm interested, man. I want to do that. That's cool. Especially if it means more people get to see it. Oh, that'd be great. Gross profit, that's a negative number. What is it in billions or something? Millions? Negative 4.36 million. Gross profit, negative 30. This is in 2022. Negative 34 million operating income. 11 million. Negative 11 million pre-tax. Here's a good one. Profit operating margin, negative 87%. It doesn't look good. I'm not an expert. I asked the AI. I was like, "Can you help me?" The AI was telling me, "Oh, I need something special," but that's okay. I feel like I know enough at least to bet a couple $100. That's all. I might make a few $100. Free cash flow margin negative 105%, negative 105%. I don't know, but how's that possible? Free cash flow margin minus 105%. And you can see like the numbers, I don't know, it doesn't look great to me. It shows revenue growth, but then it shows cost of revenue. So so they made revenue in 2022. They made 39 million in revenue. So there is revenue coming in, apparently. I'll look to see if I get any Rumble rants. I think that's how people pay. But the cost of the revenue, that means they're paying so with a company, you get revenue, but then there's you have to pay to get it. if we sell t-shirts, if we wanted to advertise on Facebook, then what I would do is I say, okay, well, we run ads, and if we sell, so it'll be like, oh, how much money do we have to spend to sell one t-shirt by running ads on Facebook? That's the calculation if you run a business. Okay, we got to go out and find customers. Okay, we're going to go out and find customers who are going to buy our product, but we actually have to pay to find them. So that's what Rumble's doing. So they made more revenue. Their revenue's way up, but their cost of revenue is more than the revenue itself. So it would be like if I paid people to watch my show or something. So, and I'll think about it. Some people run ads for their podcast. I haven't ever done that. Some people do. You can do that. But then then you have to figure it out. It's all, everything is a business. Just like they said in that movie. It's a business. Everything is a business. Politics is a business. So anyway, I don't think they're going to get Tucker. I think the Tucker hype is not real. And I think the platform is probably going to go out of business, but I'm open-minded. I found somebody who says they make a couple $100 a month because they've been live streaming, and it's a good platform for live streaming. If I get more coffees for doing my shows, I notice I have 120 people still tuned in on YouTube. We got more while we were talking about Tucker Carlson. This Rumble stuff isn't for clicks. People aren't watching these videos. I'm not getting tons of traffic or anything. But anyway, if I get more coffees, then I'll know. That's the only way I can know. I can't know for sure. See, that's the thing. Is you have to have a measure of success. That's all. There could be views, followers, and income. So I made this point on Twitter is views on Twitter are cool if that feeds your ego. Oh, great. It says 1 million people watch my video. But if you didn't sell any more products, or if you would have sold more products from your ads on YouTube with fewer views, or if you didn't get as much in however much. So that's when it comes down to it. Just realize people are like, the truth should be free, all that stuff. Everything is about money. Fundamentally, everything's about incentives. Everything is about incentives. People are trans because there are benefits for freaking being trans. So if where I broadcast, how I broadcast, if people donate more, buy more products, whatever, then I think, oh, that's working. That's all. So the last show, I didn't get too many coffees. So I thought, I guess the comments were kind of negative. But in particular, I didn't get too many coffees the last show, even though I thought it was great. But it made me think, because I had something that I thought was really interesting. Nobody even mentioned it. So I'm all right. I don't need to talk about it. I want to talk about things people want to hear about, stuff. And people tell me whether they like it or not by giving me coffees and stuff. Then I think, oh, okay, maybe I was talking about something people cared about. So anyway, that's all. That's my analysis of Rumble. Again, I'm going to talk about it. I don't know. I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. Happy to talk to the CEO. Haven't said anything that I know for a fact. I don't know for a fact that the numbers are fake. A lot of people think they are. I think they are for simple reasons that I've posted on Twitter. Just you can look at the like ratio, comment ratio. You can look at Crowder's latest video. That's what I was looking at. Crowder is still on YouTube, apparently has a deal with Rumble because Rumble posts tweets all the time saying, oh, look, Rumble is the future, 1 million views for Steven Crowder. And it's true. Take a look. Let's take a look. Honestly, like if I'm wrong, I'm okay with that. Well, in fact, if I'm wrong, great. That means I can be successful on Rumble. And if I'm wrong, great, because I'm live streaming on Rumble now. Like I'm putting in more effort to use the platform the way people say they're successful using the platform. If it succeeds, great. If it, as a matter of fact, whatever my bet is against Rumble, it pays off way more actually if Rumble ends up being the best, because then I have like sustainable, from a short position, going short isn't the way to get rich. There's only a certain amount you can possibly make. So yeah, if they go out of business or something, I might make a couple grand. But if the platform succeeds, then I have like a place I can broadcast for life. So actually, like I'm much more invested in Rumble's success. But I'm just going to press the issue until we figure it out. That's all. So actually, I'm more incentivized for them to work, and I'm trying. Yeah, I'm on there right now. If it works, great, because YouTube, I have no idea if it's going to work out forever. Let's take a look at Steven Crowder's latest thing. This is his latest video. Steven Crowder's got divorced, or is getting divorced, or has been tied up in a divorce. And I told you guys yesterday that, people often have things going on that you're not aware of, your favorite content creators and stuff. And we're incentivized to only talk about things that are, positive and not talk about that stuff. Because if you talk about things that are negative, people criticize you. People are like, I don't want to hear it, basically. So just often people will just keep that stuff to themselves. But once in a while it comes out, okay, Steven Crowder's been having problems. And that's sad. I mean, without going into anything, like marriage is more difficult than people, than like trad whatevers make it out to be. They're just like, oh, just, get married, have babies, be happy. It's hard. Like they don't ever tell you that. They're not like, no, like you actually have to like really, really, really try super hard. And it's not going to be awesome all the time. So yeah, I'm like sensitive. I as much as Crowder, people say he's a dick and stuff, and I think it was probably stupid to turn down the offer from Daily Wire. I'm definitely not going to be one of the people out there just talk, like people see him, they see the weakness and they want to attack him, which is just really sad. I talked about that in the last show. So anyway, Steven Crowder got divorced. He talked about that on his show today. Steven Crowder, it turns out, is always late to his show, and people were giving him a hard time about that. I'm sometimes late. So here is what did I do wrong? I'm sorry. Mark Mack is talking to me again. What am I? Was this a complaint? You want? That's all right. That's cool. Like, if that's what you're saying, if I'm just complaining and stuff, like I realize, like I'm just doing the content that is interesting to me. It's cool with me that some people tuned out because I covered stuff that was interesting before. But if you find that I was just complaining, okay. I'm incentivized not to do that What? I didn't think I was. What did I complain about? I didn't complain about how many people were tuned in or anything. I'm happy, man. Like, the stuff's going good. Or are you talking about Crowder? Are you talking about Crowder? And am I taking it personally? Because that's possible too. I do. That happens to me. I do misinterpret stuff. Crowder might have been complaining on his stream today. So it's possible. Anyway, sometimes I get triggered by my comments. That's why sometimes people love to troll me, but that's okay. I appreciate everybody who's here. Anyway, this is his show on YouTube, which I'll refresh it. So he broadcast on both YouTube and Rumble. He
tons of people watching, subscribe.
He has 131,000 views. Okay, here we go. So this will be a good comparison. Let's just see. Steven Crowder, he announced at the very beginning of his show that he's having problems with his marriage. He's getting divorced. It's been really hard. He said, Candace was doing something that was out of line on YouTube. Let's take a look. You guys help me figure it out. Like I said, I can be wrong sometimes. You know, I definitely can be. I'm open to new information. Steven Crowder, 5.93 million YouTube subscribers. This video says it was streamed 6 hours ago, has 131,000 views on YouTube with 15,000 thumbs up and 2,300 comments. Okay. So we can use those data points just to see what we can figure out. And then if there are problems with the data points, cool. But let's just I'm just looking at it. Let's see if it's real. YouTube, 131,000 views, 15,000 likes, 2,300 comments. The thing I've learned about YouTube numbers, because you can watch them happen in real time, and so that makes it a lot harder to manipulate them because they can't erase history, basically. So YouTube numbers, I believe some of my videos had more views than they said in the past. Like, I believe there's at least one or two videos that way more people saw than YouTube showed me, just because, like, one video, like a radio show was talking about it in Tennessee or something, and on YouTube it said it had 10,000 views, and like people were calling me and stuff, and I thought, okay, well, that's not right. You know, it's not, it must have gotten way more views because I never get people contacting me for a video with 10,000 views or something. But in general, I am relatively, you know, people say they're, you know, I'm relatively convinced that YouTube's numbers are fairly accurate most of the time. Okay. Because you can track them, you can see them. So if there was manipulation, hopefully it would be evident. 131,000 views, 15,000 likes, 2,300 comments. Okay. Steven, so here is the same show on Rumble, and Rumble sent out tweets about how many viewers he had, and it was over 1 million views and stuff. So let me show that. Okay, share this tab instead. And this is how smart I am. His title is almost exactly the same as mine, but actually it wasn't because I copied him exactly. But I thought sometimes I really don't know if it's going to be a good topic. But he said in different words what my title says. He used all caps. I used a little all caps. So, and we had like 175 people tuned in. It's pretty good. So Mark Mack, man, if I was complaining, I don't feel bad. maybe I'll be like, actually, you know what? Like, honestly, maybe I shouldn't, I really shouldn't take it to heart, because maybe it's your perception that's wrong. Because I don't see that many people agreeing with you, to be fair. So actually, you have to think about that. But like, when people criticize you, then you have to really think, because my reaction is to be like, oh shit. But now I'm thinking about it, like, actually, it's good for me to recognize it, but also you could be wrong, because I don't think I was complaining. I really don't, because I don't feel bad. So maybe you got to check your perception. Ask somebody else. Okay, the comparison: 1.3 million followers on Rockfin, which is less. It has 5 million on YouTube, but on YouTube, once you get followers, it's really hard to get them to unsubscribe. Like, once you get followers, which is why, in a way, it's like people will cheat to get followers, because once you get followers, it's really hard to make them unsubscribe. Like, they really have to think about it. Even if they totally hate you, most people just forget about you. So the 5 million subscribers on YouTube, okay, the 1.3 million on Rumble, yeah, they're probably more active because they recently subscribed. Recent subscribers are your most active. I mean, typically, because eventually people fall off, whatever, lose track of you, what have you. And then you end up with a lot of subscribers, and you can be in a situation where you have a lot of subscribers still, but not many people tune in, because they're too lazy to unsubscribe, or they don't need to. Anyway, 1.3 million followers, 1.4 million views. Oh my God, I'm going to need a calculator. Just because we're trying to figure out exactly what's going on. And again, this isn't to get clicks. This is like literally to try to find out the truth. That's but I'm actually really focused on it. I just want to know. Yeah, if I make a few bucks, fine, but it really is not that much. If it works, awesome. Like, that's the best possible thing. So 1.4 million views, 27,000. Okay, so let's look at ratios. 1.4 million views. Do you believe that? Like, just on its face, without going into the data, do you believe he really got 1.4 million views? I'm not going to say. I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe he did. 27,000 likes. Okay. 27,000 likes, 321 dislikes. So we can even combine that. But let's say 28,000 likes, whatever. 3,000 comments. Okay, we have data points. Views, likes, comments. I've noticed, like, if you want to look and see if stuff's real, you look and say, okay, well, this is how many likes a normal video gets per view. I would look at that stuff while I was on YouTube and doing better. I would say, okay, well, like a normal video, I think it worked out to where I would get 1 subscriber for every 1,000 views or something like that. And maybe 1 like. I can't remember exactly, but it was kind of predictable. You would just say, okay, well, if you can get, so similar, it should, if they were exactly the same, the ratios should be the same. So 1.4 million views, 27,000 likes. The ratio is way, way, way off. Because how many views did I say it had on YouTube? 100. So literally 10. Okay, it's super easy to figure out. I mean, we can even do it in our head. we can definitely, yeah, it's actually perfect because we just do it in our head, which is great. Basically, you can say the video based on the view count got 10 times as much traffic on Rumble. Actually, more than 10 times as much. That's what it says. On Rumble, the video got more than 10 times as much traffic as the YouTube video. Well, what about, did it get 10 times as many likes? Because that would be 150,000 likes if it was the same ratio. Right? I mean, and again, tell me if I'm crazy. At any point, decide I'm crazy. Tell me I'm crazy. Leave in the comments I'm crazy. At any point, I could. It's true. But I'm just saying, 131,000 versus 1.44 million, 15,000 likes here. You should have 150,000 likes on the video to have the same ratio. And that measures engagement too. And engagement matters. If somebody likes your video, that's valuable because actually it boosts it in the algorithm. On Twitter, the most valuable thing is likes. Like if you want to help me out anytime, like one of my tweets. Apparently that boosts it in the algorithm. I say things people actively dislike all the time, unfortunately. But if you want to boost me, hit like. So 15,000 likes. What did the video on Rumble have? Only 23,000 likes. 27,000. So about twice as many likes. About twice as many. And that's giving them something. It's actually less than twice as many. But it should be 10 times as many, right? Somebody told me, as like a way to explain this, that it's really hard to like videos on Rumble. Okay. They said, oh, you can't like video. Like it's really hard to like video. That explains it. Okay. So it's possible that explains it. It's possible. Comments, same thing, except even more extreme. On the video on YouTube, which has 130,000 views, it says it has 2,324 comments. Well, if it, the ratio, the like ratios should be 10x. 20,000 should have 20,000 comments. I know it's not going to be perfect, but if it was the same. And remember, the video on Rumble got more than 10 times as many views. It would have 20,000 comments, right? And it has 3,000. It has just a little more, a few more comments than YouTube. So, and that's similar. You can just look at my Twitter profile and see, I've made my case. As a matter of fact, kind of wore me out, actually. I've been looking at it so much. So do with it what you will. I don't know. Who the hell knows, man? I make stupid investment decisions all the time. I'm not afraid to lose a couple $100. I just figured, if I'm making the case that they're going to go out of business and their stock just, I think, got an artificial pump, it's just like on elections. If I'm going to predict something, if I can, I'll bet on it. I think gold is going to be worth a lot more money in the future. I think Bitcoin is going to be worth a lot more money in the future. I think Ethereum is going to be worth a lot more money in the future. So I buy them and I hold on to them and I tell you guys about it. And I have an incentive to tell you about it, kind of, because theoretically, like if I reach the whole world and they were like, oh, this guy really knows what he's talking about, I'm going to buy cryptocurrency. I'm going to buy Bitcoin and Ethereum. Yeah, okay, that would help me financially because of my investments. But yeah, I like to bet on stuff. That's all. I don't want the company to go out of business. I want to do great on there. So that's it. So thanks for listening to me rant about it. I know, I'm sure, actually, that it interests me more than it interests you. positive because it affects me way more than it affects you, but it does affect you too. Like we have to decide. Like I have to tell people, oh, come here, come there, come there. Twitch. Man, I've been on so many platforms. It ends up affecting you guys because then you have to suffer through whatever decision I make. That's all. And I think about it. I think, okay, do I really want to have to tell people to go to Rumble? Like, is it worth it? Like for them, like for the user experience, for this and that. I'm on YouTube because I know it's a pleasurable place to watch content. Like it's the most pleasurable just to use. Like it's the best for you. That's all. Like it gives you your notification. You can tune in. It's easy. You watch it on your TV. You can't play it with the app closed, but I suggest you get YouTube Premium. And actually, I get paid if you get YouTube Premium. That's the other thing. So I pay for YouTube Premium. It's 100% worth it. I hate ads. And it actually, because YouTube Premium, the payment from YouTube Premium users goes to content creators who aren't otherwise monetized. So speaking about incentives, so even though I don't earn advertising revenue because they deem every single thing I do to be not advertiser friendly, they say that I do get revenue from premium YouTube subscribers. So, but I'll talk later. It did kind of wear me out going through all that stuff. So let me look at if anybody dropped me coffees and go through all the super chats and talk to the chat for a second. And then we'll wrap up for the day and I'll get my podcast posted and stuff. And then if you saw something that would make good standalone content, I'm not sure. I think the show, I don't know. If you see anything that would make good standalone content, you have my permission to make a new channel. Maybe I need to make a new channel for some of my content. Okay. Okay, I'll figure it out. All right. So let's see. Thanks for the super chats on. Thanks for the super chats on YouTube. Bushidoki, thanks for the super chat earlier. You said they call you anti-Semitic, but not a liar. Okay, that's cool. I appreciate that. Bushidoki says 9/11 used to be a liberal conspiracy. Watch the liberals call 9/11 deniers crazy now. 9/11 deniers, which is, do you mean 9/11 truthers? And William says, thanks, Nate. You do try hard. All right, thanks. All right, cool. All right, guys. Well, if you want to support the show, it's up to you. I'm not going to get upset about it, but thanks on Rockfin. Oh, thank you guys on Rockfin. This is why Rockfin's great. Thanks, Vogan Filter, for the tip over on Rockfin. Appreciate it. Thanks to Luth Hap, who said, say us over here on Rockfin know you already and sponsor when we can. Some more, some less. However, I do hope Rumble can pay you out. Maybe find a way to squeeze something out of it. Thanks, mate. I'm wearing your Bitcoin in blue. Oh, cool, man. Thanks. That's awesome. Thanks. Thanks, guys, over on Rockfin. You guys are saving the damn show. Yeah, I didn't broadcast on YouTube because I was like, oh, I can say what I want over on Rockfin and people actually support the show. So that's why I wasn't on YouTube. I only came back on YouTube because somebody told me about Buy Me a Coffee because I didn't think I could get super chats. Because I can say what I want. Yeah, there is value in saying what I want. But I'm just, call me crazy. Just trying to figure out how to earn a living like a normal person. Vogan Filter, thanks. Says, love that propaganda shirt Nathan is wearing today. Super soft, cool design. Get yourself 1 or 3. See, people are promoting my t-shirts. Yeah, I'll run it. You can buy t-shirts too. And I have to ship one out today. I'm still trying to solve this UPS thing. You can go to truthclothing.io. Yeah, I'm wearing them. They are super cool shirts. So, oh, okay. Actually, the shirt. Okay, cool. Maxime, I'm sorry, man. I've been running around like a freaking crazy person. I feel like your order is being shipped late. Your order is going out today. I'm sorry that I was late. My apologies. I'll send it out as fast as possible. I'm really sorry. There are certain things I haven't been able to keep up on. So I'm sorry about that. I'll send it right out. Thanks for the order. I appreciate it. Truthclothing.io. If you want a Bitcoin shirt, you can go to the crypto shop or a crypto shirt. They're 50% off with the code crypto50. If you want a free t-shirt, you can become a member at buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil for $7 a month. And then I'll send you a code. And actually, some people sent me some stuff on Cash App. I super appreciate you guys. People do some, yeah. So anyway, I'm incentivized though. If you want to support the show and say what you liked, buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil is a great place to do that. It's only $5 for a coffee. I mean, really. So, and it makes me feel better if that matters to you. I like to make people feel better if possible. Like, that's one of my favorite things. So I would think you guys would be like, oh, I want Nathan to feel good. I'm going to say nice things about him and tip him when he asks nicely and when he doesn't complain too much. Anyway, you guys are cool. I'm going to wrap it up there. I think I made my points for today. I'll tell you more about extremism and stuff. I dropped some hints about stuff I was thinking I would cover that would be super mind-blowing, but because I didn't get much response to it, I'm like, oh, okay, well, people aren't interested. That's fine with me. It's crazy information that nobody would ever say. So no big deal. There's lots of interesting stuff to talk about. So hope you guys enjoy it. I know it's weird. Hope you guys enjoy it. I appreciate you guys. Look at Angry Canadian. Well, you live up to your name, Angry Canadian. I make jokes about it. I mean, for freak's sake, man. What do you do for a living? Actually, why don't I just ask you? What do you do? Like, what do you do to make money? Tell me about it. I used to sell cars. I made a lot of money selling cars. I kind of got burned out. I like doing this, but I'm smart. I can do other stuff. I really like driving for DoorDash because like people don't criticize me and stuff. I'm really, really good at it. I'm maybe the best ever who's ever done it. None of my business. Well, you just told me that you like, would you like me to come to your work and criticize you? I could. Like, I'm interested in doing that. Like, I'm curious, like how you do your job and stuff. Like if you're annoying, like how your coworkers feel about you and stuff. I'm interested. Like I would talk about it if it was interesting. Like, what do you do? Like, you slack off, you leave early. Are you always perfect? Really, like, I'm interested. Angry Canadian. I'm just like a frustrated artist, just trying to entertain people. Sometimes I come up with like crazy ideas for making money, but I'm not always right, to be honest. Sometimes I feel bad. I'm like, oh, why aren't people donating and stuff? I let it show through. It's sad, right? But it's cool though. I understand. If I spend a couple hours, that's all. Angry Canadian. That's it. Like, I'm like, okay, like I spend a couple hours. If I go out and do DoorDash, if things are going well, it's like $30 an hour. And I enjoy it. Like, I like it. I don't have people like you bothering me. telling me I'm a grifter. Like it's great. It's awesome. I just listen to music, you know, try not to get distracted and stuff. But I'm like, oh yeah, $30 an hour. Like that's cool. Like that's not bad for something I enjoy. You know, like it'd be great to do better and stuff, but so that's what I think sometimes. I'm just like, okay, well, I spent a couple hours, almost 3 hours, you know, but it's really no big deal. People are super nice, and I have another job, so actually, it's no big deal. Like people give me money just because they like me. It's like it's crazy. Like I should never complain. You're like totally right. But if you want me to come to your work and criticize you, like I'd love to. That'd be awesome. Like in fact, I'd love to talk to your coworkers and see what they think about you. And like that'd be cool. That'd be fun, you know. So let me know. But cool, like I get it. Angry Canadian. Okay, good. Like I knew how to take your comment. I appreciate it. I appreciate you being here. Subscribe, hit the bell. You're going to see some crazy shit on this channel. Like if you just tune in, suffer through all the stuff where you're like, oh my God, whatever. Sometimes, holy shit. And you might get rich if, you know, you have any capital to spend. And you believe, and I'm right. And if I'm right. But cool. I appreciate the comment. That's cool. I appreciate everybody. You guys are awesome. Have a good one. I'll see you at the next one. We're doing okay. 11 a.m. 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern time. I'm trying to be regular with super interesting stuff. So thanks, everybody. And we'll see you at the next one. For now, that is what it is.